So yeah, welcome to the Trading Basics call, and excited for what we're going to be diving into today. We got people tapped in from all over. We got Nebraska. What's good, Vicente? Carter tapped in from YYC. Let's go. We got Manitoba, Calgary, Grand Prairie, New Brunswick. It's good, Alex. Good to see you. We got Kamloops. What's going on, Mama Stace? Scarborough, Ontario, Windsor, Moncton, LA. Hey, my brother in Plantation. What's good, Barack? Kelowna. Awesome. Philippines. What's good, pal? Good to see you. Awesome, guys. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's go ahead and dive into it. So, a couple of things that I wanted to go over on today's Trading Basics call. All right. And this is really obviously, Trading Basics. This is like back to the basics. So for those of you that are on here that have experience, maybe you've been doing this for, a number of months, number of years, whatever the case is. Shout out to you for valuing the basics because everything rises and falls on the basics. And so what I'm going to be going into today, two different things. Okay. First thing we're going to be talking about is how to use Golden Era. This is a scanner that we just put out a video for. Shout out to Mike one time for taking the time to record it. And this thing has been very, very consistent for trading gold specifically. Gold's been going crazy. We're very, very, very bullish on gold. And so I'm going to be going over a training on how to use Golden Era Scanner. Second thing that I'm going to be talking about is tap to trade. Okay, maybe some of you guys have seen it or heard people talk about it in the community. A lot of people don't have a full grasp on really what tap to trade is, how you can take advantage of it, how to set it up. Some people have questions about like, oh, can I use it even though I'm not using MetaTrader for my trading, platform? We're going to get into all of that good stuff too. But before we get into the actual training side of things, I think something that's really, really important to understand is for anybody that's, brand new, maybe you've been doing this for like less than, let's say less than 1 month, drop a one in the chat. Okay, because I know we've had a pretty huge influx of new members. So shout out to those of you guys that are dropping ones and fresh to the community. Great to have you here. What I'm going to say, and maybe this is what something you already know, and that's good if you already know this stuff because this is what you're supposed to be exposed to when you're first starting out and you're in your first month. But maybe for some of you, this is like something you're seeing for the very first time. So it's important that I'm going over this. But first things first, if you have not already, gone through the fast start on the Revolt website, this is like the first thing you want to work through to make sure that you have all the apps set up, all the group chats. You've actually started with the end in mind, going through goal setting. Goal setting is super important in life, just in general. There's this quote that Earl Nightingale stated. I was listening to an audio of his. He's one of the best when it comes to personal development. Worked directly with Napoleon Hill and then Bob Proctor as well. And he said that it's not in achieving goals that men and women struggle; it's in setting them. We have no problem achieving goals. It's actually in setting goals that we tend to fall short and fail ourselves in not actually setting goals. So of course, look back on these. Maybe last time you set goals was like when you first joined the community. Because I know there's some people that are on here that have been here for longer than a month. It's like, do you remember the goals you set? Maybe go back and reflect on those if you haven't in a while. Okay, start with the end in mind and keep the end in mind on a regular basis. So make sure you've gone through the fast start. If you have any questions about the fast start, reach out to whoever personally supported you in getting started, and they'll be able to take you from where you're currently at to where you want to go and getting this completed. There is a section that I want to show you guys. When you get to the end of the fast start, there is an option, two different options. There's two kind of paths that you can choose to go down. And I would encourage everybody to do both, by the way. But this is like the final step, right? Shout out to Olivia. She has the final video in here called the one-to-one, where you can really actually get onto a call to be launched officially, to actually create a game plan with the person that you're working with and a mentor. Okay. And they'll give you next steps on the creating an income online side of things with like trading and investing. And then they'll also give you a game plan as someone who maybe has a desire to build the business as an affiliate. And I'm someone who, I'll be honest, like when I started this thing, I just wanted to increase my money and increase my income from the markets. That's all I really cared to do. And then I realized that in sharing the opportunity while learning and going through the motions, I was able to kind of have the best of both worlds. Because now I had homies that I was doing it with, and we were all holding each other accountable in the process. And it was something that, I was able to be compensated for, unlike just referring somebody to a restaurant that you've been to, and it's like they go and eat at the restaurant, don't get a dime for it. It's like you're going to share something you're excited about anyways. Don't hold yourself back from that. There's people you can do it with, and obviously you get compensated in doing so. And I'm dialed in and locked in on the charts and trading. So there are videos and steps that you can work through to master in the easiest way in the shortest time frame, both the trading and investing side of things and the affiliate side of things. So I would encourage you guys to check out these tabs for ongoing education. Very soon, there's going to be one in here for Golden Era that will have that video and a few other important things to consider when using that scanner. So I just wanted to say that and preface that. Right now, my boot camps are in here. So you have Smart Money Introduction, which is something that you'll want to come back to after you've gone through the GFU education. So that's a key point that I want to just mention as well. But yeah, this is the ongoing education tab for Revolt website, something you can check out once you've gone through the GFU education, which I'll show you guys what I'm referring to here. You've probably already seen it if you've been through the Fast Start, but under the universities tab, okay, you have the different academies. So whatever it is that you're focused on, you want to niche down and run through each of these academies. If we go to Forex Academy, live sessions, guys, there's a lot of live sessions. Actually, like attend these live sessions, okay? I know it might sound like kind of silly for me to say it, but like actually put in the time to be on these sessions because these are where the breakthroughs come. It's not in the video content, it's these live sessions. All right, so live sessions and in-person events, just like what we're doing right now in Calgary. That's where the breakthroughs really come from because now you're around the people and learning directly from the people that have been doing this for an extended period of time. That's what reduces the learning curve for you. And of course, when you're starting out, you want to go through the pre-recorded content to establish that foundation. So once you finish the fast start and before moving forward into this, you should do your best to work through the beginner education on this page as well as the intermediate. I would say beginner is like absolutely crucial. Some of these things, are good to know about as well. But you could probably, start to be on live sessions as you're going through the intermediate sessions, the advanced sessions, whatever. But you certainly want to prioritize the beginner sessions and banging these out as quickly as you can. That way you'll really be able to resonate and understand a lot more when you're on the live sessions, so on and so forth. Okay. I'm going to check out the chat in a little bit. I just want to finish going through this quick overview and then I'll take a peek for questions. So I'm not ignoring you if you're dropping messages in the chat, just so you guys know. But yeah, so that's, once you're done the fast start for trading side of things, come over here, bang out the basics, the beginner videos. Once you're finished some of those, you can jump over into my bootcamp stuff. And there will be more tabs here for specifically the scanners, which are something that can really accelerate your process in becoming independently profitable. Okay. Which is huge, right? It's I think one of the most exciting things about trading is getting to the point where you've learned the skill and now your phone is literally an ATM wherever you go. You can take a look at the charts, use some scanners, some tools, and literally be producing an income from wherever you are. I got fired up about that. I don't know if that fires everybody up, but I get pretty excited about that. Okay, the Director Bootcamp is where you're going to want to come as well after finishing the fast start, because this is where you're going to learn about the best way to share the opportunity with others. Because I think there's something that, well, I'll just share this from personal experience. When I first got started, I was excited about all this, but I didn't really know the best way to articulate what I was doing. And so I had like my parents, my friends, my family, other family members of mine that were like, dude, you're crazy for doing this. Like, oh, I know, my friend's brother's mom's uncle who lost all his money trading in stocks. You probably shouldn't do it. It's like, okay, thanks for that, right? And it's because I didn't know how to effectively share what it was that I was doing. And by the way, like the system that we have is literally the blueprint to go about doing this the right way the first time. So it doesn't take you as long as it took me to figure this out. For those of you guys that don't know, maybe you're hearing from me for the first time. I've been doing this for almost 7 years. And when I started, it took me around 3.5 years to actually find my ropes and get to a point where I could do this consistently. And it's wild to see even just some of the participants in the chat. I'll shout a few of you out. JP, Dayton, Barack. Let's see who else is in here that we can shout out. There's a lot, right? That have been doing this, right? Whitney, prime examples. Okay, and there's more than that that are on this call as well, or also in the community that maybe aren't on this call that have been doing this for a fraction of that period of time, but are really doing it in a big way and profitably in like months instead of years. So the systems are there for you. And this on screen is also a system for how to share this thing effectively. Okay. To really go about getting maybe a free membership, applying for the scholarship. Okay. Maybe you want to actually start to earn some residual income as an affiliate. These are the videos that are going to give you the A to Z on how to go about doing that. And there's a video that's really, really good in here. It actually talks about why this is such a powerful industry. And this is a great video. I would encourage everybody here to watch this video if you haven't already. And it's going to actually be re-recorded. We're going to update this one very, very soon. And actually, it might already have been updated. I'll have to check in with Tommy because I'm pretty sure he was recording it literally today. But it actually explains the whole vision behind, being an ambassador for the company, an affiliate for the company, and it's really good stuff. So just wanted to go over all that. Now that we're through that, let's talk about the scanner. And I'm going to check out the chat real quick before we transition over here so I don't miss these messages. Let's see here. Will they have sessions at like 3 a.m., 6 a.m.? Abby, what time zone are you in? For live sessions, there are quite a lot and at different times. So let me know. Oh, Zebra. Hey, Ebru. Good to see you. So you're in Eastern time, right? 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. So there's 7 a.m. sessions. Tyler does sessions at, unless this, yeah, this is Eastern time. So 7 a.m. sessions. And then you also have some, it looks like the latest sessions are at 10 p.m. So there's no London live sessions as of yet. Most of the sessions are during New York session. Okay, cool. Will there be? Yeah, potentially in the future. I think for sure. I think there's a lot of room for that. 100%. What I'm going through currently, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's hard to this is what I realized like when I first started doing all of this is it actually fired me up to really know what I was talking about sooner when I couldn't effectively explain what I was doing to others. That's what really like lit a fire under my butt to like go out there and learn this in a big way so that I could effectively communicate what I was doing and support people and seeing the vision of why this is so powerful. But in the way that's shared in the unranked to director boot camp, unranked to executive specifically here, you don't even have to worry about having all the knowledge to explain everything. It's really really effective how you can share the opportunity and not have to worry about being the person that explains everything and all that. So, anyways, let's talk about the scanner. Okay, how many of you guys drop golden in the chat if you've been fired up to either learn the scanner or you're already learning and using the scanner actively on a regular basis? Drop golden in the chat if that's you. Okay, it's a fire scanner. Okay. This is something that literally last night we had a Calgary get together. I did a training on the scanner and we saw in real time one of the setups that I was training and showing people how to use the scanner. It literally played out hit take profit. And then a second one right afterwards also played out hit take profit. And then I got home. It's like, I think it was like 11 Mountain Time, which is like 1 a.m. Eastern. And another one played out, and I took that one too. It was like, bro, back to back to back bangers, 1 to 2 risk reward every single one of them. So it was a really, really, really solid trading day. And then this morning as well, I was using this thing, caught a couple of good trades. You're not going to win every single one, okay? Like, don't expect this, to be like the Man of Steel that never loses and has no kryptonite. You know what I mean? Like, there's certainly trades that are going to be more higher probability than others, but this is a fantastic scanner to learn if you haven't already. And what I'm going to drop in the chat real quick for you guys, 5 for 5 on the scanner today, Carter said. Shout out to Carter one time. That is phenomenal. Carter, you've been doing this for how long? Like a month or two? I need this because I'm Five, I don't think I'm completely stupid. Literally 2 and 26 right now. Okay, yeah. Jeremy, I got you. This one's for you, brother. I'm gonna make sure that this is like something that resonates for everybody and make sure that everybody's really, having those breakthroughs for how to use the scanner in the best possible way. First things first, really important, do not use this thing on anything other than gold. Okay. It's called Golden Era and it works best for gold. That's kind of why it's called Golden Era. And also because the zones that you're looking to potentially take entries from are gold. Okay. Now, another thing to consider, you'll see all these lines. When you first pull up the scanner, it's going to look like this. And you'll see all these lines and you might be a little bit confused as to what you're seeing. Each of these levels are what we call key quarter levels with gold. It's every 50 pips or every $5 fluctuation in gold's price. These lines are kind of drawn and established. And essentially, the reason for that is because a lot of the times, not every single time, but a lot of the times when price trades to these zones, you'll get rejection. Okay. Each of these zones, each of these lines, you'll see here, we traded this zone, we get a rejection. Trade back up to it, we reject again. We then come lower, almost trade to that zone and bounce again. Okay, so these are areas where gold's price likes to bounce and reject and react pretty consistently. This was one from this morning. Then we bounced here, then we traded lower, then we bounced here, traded lower. Again, we're just kind of bouncing off of these zones almost over and over and over and over again. And sure, some instances it's going to blow through those zones, right? Those are going to be the trades that might not be winning with Golden Era, and that's fine. It's just the reality is a lot of the times you will see these zones react quite nicely. So that's what those levels are. Now, how can you actually use this scanner to identify a setup? And ideally, we can get one together on this session over the next 20, 25 minutes before we wrap this thing up. But basically, when you're first looking at the scanner, also only use it on the 5 minute time frame. You could use it on the 1 minute. I wouldn't recommend to. Okay. You want to focus on mainly the 5 minute time frame. So only gold, only the 5 minute time frame. Really key point to consider and understand. So this is what the scanner will look like when it's first identifying a key zone for you to potentially take an entry. And basically, it's anytime that we're close to or around those key levels that are drawn out with lines on the chart. So this one up here, this is 30.60. This one's 30.55. This one's 30.50. So every $5 difference and 50 pip difference, you're going to see one of these zones. When price is trading around the zone, it will start by printing a gray box. All right. Start by printing a gray box. If and as to when price closes outside of this box with a 5 minute candle, each of these bars is a candle, right? And representing 5 minutes of trading. So if we were to see this candlestick, and we'll obviously see it in the next 4 minutes, depending on how it closes, but if we were to close down here, this zone is going to turn golden, and there's going to be a check mark that's also gold beneath the candlestick. All right. What that means is that now that we've broken out of this zone and we're starting to move away from this key level, it's going to be giving you an opportunity for entry if and as to when price retraces back to that zone. You could look to take a position. And in this case, if we were to close below the zone, you're waiting for a retracement up to take sells to then take a trade in that particular way. If we were to see the price close or the candle close above the gray zone, the box is also going to turn golden. You'll see a check mark above the candle in this case, and you would want to look for potential buys on the retracement back into that golden zone to then anticipate price to continue higher. Does that make sense? I got a 3 in the chat if that's making sense so far. It'll be something that resonates a lot more as we wait for this thing to actually turn gold too. Cool. I'm seeing lots of 3s. Is there any questions about this? Because this is the time to really, ask questions. What's a pip, if I may? Great question. So a pip equals point in percent. That's what the word pip means. And a pip is essentially a unit of measure in the market. So it's basically what you're using to measure the distance from price moving from here to here or from here back over here. Okay. So for example, if we were to take a look at gold in this particular instance, this is different depending on what it is that you're looking at. With currency pairs, it's different. But for gold, which is XAU USD. This is what a pip is. So right now we're at 3054.38. A pip is like one pip is, let me see if I can find the arrow tool here, right here. This is your pip. This decimal point, the 3. Okay, that's the equivalent of a pip. So if we had a fluctuation from, let's say, this to 3054.48, that is a 1 pip fluctuation. If we saw a fluctuation to this, okay, that would be a 10 pip fluctuation. Does that make sense for pips? So below the gray zone is potential sells. I got the above gray zone is potential buys. Yes, correct, Rachel. So the gray zone will eventually turn golden. The way you know whether you're going to be buying or selling is based on where the check mark is placed after we've seen this 5-minute candle close. So as of right now, it's 7:29 p.m. my time. It might be 9:30 p.m. your time or a totally different time, but it's, half past the top of the hour. This candle is going to close in 1 minute. When this candle closes, if we're closing outside, just like we did, we closed below that gray zone. Notice how the zone has turned golden and there's a check mark below the candle. That's how you know you're going to be taking a sell. If you're going to take anything, you would take a sell in this particular scenario. Now, the ideal scenario is that you see price, trade below, retrace back into this golden zone for you to then take potential sells, and then you're going to ride this trade lower. Okay, because when you take a sell position, you're anticipating the price to fall, and as it does, you're profiting, right? So 5-minute candle closed here. We already traded back into the golden zone. My ideal scenario, and this changes from time to time, and it'll be based on what I'm seeing, but ideal scenario is I want to see price trade back into, if it's before it gives the entry parameters, I want to see price trade back into that exact whole level at like 30.55. Okay. It's just a personal preference thing. It's worked really well for me. But I want to see price trade back into kind of the middle of that golden zone, essentially. And so my position, my trade, before it gives me the parameters, it'll give me the parameters the next 5-minute candle. So in the next 4 minutes, when this candle closes, it will then give you the entry parameters and the exit parameters. But before we get that next candle closure, it's not going to give you the parameters. It'll just show you what we're seeing on screen here, which is the golden zone and the check mark. It's up to you if you want to take a trade before the parameters are given to you, or if you want to wait until the parameters are given to you. But for me personally, I'm okay to take a trade if price returns to this zone and we trade directly back to that whole level of, in this case, 30.55. My stop loss will be 15 pips, okay, which is $1.50 in gold's price from my entry. All right, so in this particular scenario, entry price is going to be at 30.55. My stop loss would be at 30.5650 because that's 15 pips. And then my take profit is going to be approximately 30 pips, which is a 1 to 2 risk to reward. So I'm risking 15 pips to make 30. Okay. So we'll wait for this 5-minute candle to close and we'll see the actual parameters that it gives. But it'll be very similar to what you're seeing on screen here. Typically, I think the stop loss will be like probably more like around here because it bases the entry from the starting point of the zone, stop loss 15 pips from there. And then take profit is 15 pips from the start of the zone and then 30 pips from there for exit 2. So we'll come back to this thing in 2 minutes, but pips, does that make sense? I think, let me check the chat. Yes, the flag, which we're going to get to as this thing continues to play out, the flag means that the trade is completed. You wouldn't want to take the trade anymore. But right now we haven't gotten that far yet. So sometimes I'm seeing a flag even though it did not retest the zone. Does that mean it's already invalid? Yes, exactly. That means that it's already met one of the two take profits, or it's already hit stop loss. So you wouldn't want to take the trade. Anytime you see a little white flag, because we probably will see one eventually on this, hopefully before the end of the call, that would be ideal. That would mean that the trade's done. You don't want to take the trade anymore. Can you explain how you do the math on pips? So there are some videos in the basic content that go into that in more detail. I would say maybe just to refer back to those. Um, but basically it's just the fluctuation of price, right? So if we had 3054.38, the pip is the 10 every 10 cents that's fluctuating. That's considered one pip. So if we had a $1 fluctuation, like we do here, this is a 10 pip difference. All right. If we were to see, this five turn into a six, that's a 100 pip difference, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of that's kind of the basics I can give you in terms of calculating it, but there's some really good video content that goes into it in a lot more detail in the actual GFU Academy as well. Yeah, so the pip is in a different decimal point place from one pair to another. Good question. Did you leave a little extra room for the stop loss? So I'm always going to take a 15 pip stop loss, Whitney. In this particular scenario, because I would be entering off the 50% of the zone, my stop loss is going to be 15 pips from the 50% of that zone, the middle of the zone. Now, notice how the box turned back to being gray. Does anybody want to guess why that would be in the chat? Or does anybody know why that would be? Luke, you got it. Because the candle closed back inside that zone, right? So the zone will only remain golden as we're getting candle closures outside of the zone. So here it was initially gold. Another reason why it doesn't give you the entry parameters until after the following candle closure is because sometimes exactly what we're seeing on screen will happen, where you have a candle close outside of the range, next candle opens, but it closes back inside of the range. So now we want to wait for that next candle closure outside of the zone to then get that golden check mark again and potentially take an entry from the area. Okay. Just because it turned gray doesn't mean you can't take a trade per se. It's just not going to be as ideal of a setup. The most ideal setups, you're seeing consistent and consecutive candle closures outside of that range. So the stop loss for my entry is going to be at 30.56.50 with this particular example because I entered at 30.55. So 15 pip stop loss. If it was at 30.57, that would mean that you were measuring it from the top of the zone, and then it would be 15 pips, or you just have a bigger stop loss of 20 pips. But ideally, you want to keep a 15 pip stop loss. So that means it's a good time to buy then? No, the only time that it would be a good time to buy is if we get a candle closure above this zone and then the zone turns golden, you would want to buy on a retracement into that area. Yes, good point. What Dayton said in the chat is very valid as well. Because this is giving us the potential setup or was giving us a potential setup for a sell, this is against the current trend. All right. If you want to write something down in your notes, that's really crucial, is you ideally want to prioritize setups and trades with this scanner that are with the trend. Doesn't mean you can't take trades that are against the trend and win. You can for sure, but it's going to be a little bit less probable to play out. So if we take a look at gold, obviously we've been very bullish. Like we're in price discovery, which means we're at a point in price that we've never been to before in human history. We're at all-time highs. So for us to be selling is kind of silly because we've been very, very strong in an uptrend, right? We're very, very bullish. So it's not that you can't sell, but it's just something that you maybe want to reconsider because it's against the trend. Okay. And again, the zone turned gray. So this particular sell, this is what we had marked up when it was golden. This is currently not a trade that you would want to take because the zone has turned back to being gray. Okay. If we get a candle closure outside of this zone, we could then look for potential buys. But we're really just seeing price kind of bouncing around in this area. We want to wait for price to kind of break out with conviction and get a candle closure with conviction outside of the range. Another thing that you can take into consideration here as well, this candle, I mean, we barely closed below the bottom of that range, right? So the most favorable is when you have like a strong closure above or a strong closure below, typically. So we have 1 minute until the candle closes. We might close inside the range again. Okay. Super choppy right now, based on the time of day, but yeah. So if you bought and it turns gray, what would you do? Two things. You can either close it out at around the entry, because if it's back in the gray zone, it's going to be around your entry anyways. So it's almost better to just cut your loss and then see if going into the next 5 minute candle, we break through the range again, and then you can look to re-enter. Or if you're like, you know what, based on my level of experience, I'm confident this is still going to play out. You can look to just hold that position. So again, a very shallow candle closure outside of the zone. Let's wait to see how the next 5 minute candle closes. If we have a little bit more conviction in the candle closure and it gives us the entry parameters, we could look to take the trade. Just a wick retracement or a whole body? Are you meaning for when we like if we were to close, let's say below, and then we retrace into the zone? Am I looking for? Okay. Well, technically, a wick was once a full candle body, right? So the ideal scenario would be that it's only a wick at the time of that candle closure, because if it wasn't, the zone would turn gray again because we would be closing back inside the zone. So let's say that this thing, gives us another 5 minute candle closure below the range. I would want to wait for a retracement into this area. My personal preference is to enter off the middle of that golden zone, but anywhere inside the golden zone is valid for entry. And ideally, that 5 minute candle closure is not inside the range. Because if it is, then the trade's, likely going to be invalid. All set pendings, usually all set pendings. Like I would, in this particular scenario, when this next 5 minute candle closes, I would set a pending at 30.55 for sell limit. Yeah, the wick would trigger it. Well, again, remember, I mean, as the candle is printing, it's a full candle body until the candle closes, and then wherever it closes, that's when you'll see the wick created, right? Okay, I saw somebody asking in the chat here. So find only buys for winning for a better winning percentage. Right now, yes. But I mean, we'll take a sell together if it makes sense to, based on how this 5 minute candle closes. Just to put in the rep, we can all take it on a demo account. If you want to take it on a live account, it's up to you. It's counter trend. I probably wouldn't recommend it because we're very bullish on gold, but you could, right? Like I took a couple sells on Golden Era this morning because we were actually in a state of retracement, so it made sense to kind of take sells, you know. Should we use what lot size do you recommend for newbies? Well, I always recommend to calculate your lot size as a beginner. I have a video that I can maybe drop in the chat for you guys on how to calculate your lot size. Um, that's what would be your best bet, is to just calculate it. Let me see if I can pull this up for you guys quick times. So this video, save this in the chat or like open it up in your browser and then save it. Drop it in the chat a couple of times here. You'll want to watch that video because it shows you exactly how to use proper risk management and calculate your lot size so that you're risking exactly a specific dollar or percentage amount on your specific account. If the candle had no wick, would that be a strong trend up or down? If the candle has no wick, yes. Yeah, candle body closures with basically no wicks. Like if we were to get this candle closing exactly as it is with no wick, that's a pretty strong move. Okay. Now, if we were to get a candle closure here and then a retracement back into this golden zone and it gives us entry parameters, that'd be a good sell to take. Right. But this choppiness, you want to kind of avoid that. Technically, we could have, because we got candle closure here, price retraced. They kind of did trade to that 3055 level that we have marked with blue. You could have technically executed that if you wanted to, but you want to wait for the setup that is most probable. So again, the reason it doesn't give you the entry parameters right away is because it'll base that off the second candle closure after breaking out of the range. So in 1 minute, when this closes, we'll see the actual entry parameters pop up on screen, and then we can look to take this trade together. And I like this. This looks good. So we'll take this out. Okay. I'm gonna pull this up. I'll take this with you guys. So probably in like the next few seconds here, we're going to see this candle close and it'll give you the entry parameters. It'll probably be something along these lines. Yep. So notice how 5-minute candle just closed. We now have zone of action, invalidation zone, exit 1 and 2. Okay. So we want to wait for price because we closed below the golden zone. Initially, it was a gray zone. Then it turned golden when we had a candle closure beneath the zone. Now that we've seen a second candle closure beneath the zone, it's actually given us those entry parameters that we could look to take the trade from. So in the event that we get a retracement back to this golden area, our zone of action for entry is here. These are our two exits. Okay. In the event that we see a white flag presented on the scanner, that would mean that the trade is no longer worth, looking for entry off of. That could happen literally as soon as we get this candle closure because we've already achieved exit 1. So we'll see what happens. But if we were to get a pullback into this zone, I would look to take this trade. If we got a pullback ideally to like 30.55, I would look to take that trade and maybe adjust my stop loss a little bit higher to still be 15 pips, but still targeting the same exits. So it's just over a 1 to 2 risk to reward. Okay. So we'll see how this thing continues to trade. It looks like we, right now we have quite a bit of strength to the downside, so we might not get the pullback for an entry, and that's okay. Don't chase the market, right? You want to wait for price to give you that retracement back into the zone for an entry to then take to take the position. And if you don't get that, it's like, okay, on to the next one, right? So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to set an alert in the event that we trade back up to this level. It's looking like we're just going to keep selling off on gold. Yes. Yeah, I got you. I can talk about these little position thingies. So I do want to talk about tap to trade. So I'll talk about that as soon as I go over this quickly. And I have an alert set on TradingView. So if we get a retracement back into the zone, we can look to take the trade together. Okay. But basically this on screen here, this is how you can kind of gauge your position and your trade. So the way you find this is from the scanner or on TradingView. You'll come over to the left-hand side, click forecasting and measurement tools, and you'll see long position. This is for buys. Short position, this is for sells. Okay, so right now what I have on screen here, this is a short position, which means I'm anticipating the trade to go lower, and as it does, I'm making money. All right. If I were taking a long position or a buy position, maybe just as an example, I'm just for fun going to throw this on here, right? Maybe I'm anticipating price to trade higher from here. Okay. This is how I can basically gauge and measure out what my trade might look like from entry. The bottom of the red zone, that's your stop loss. Top of the green would be your take profit, where you're looking to exit the trade in a win. So that's kind of what these are on screen. I have a video on this as well. I'm pretty sure I have a video on this. Let's see if this goes over it. Yeah, it does. All right, cool. I'll drop this link in the chat for you guys too. This is an OG video. This is like an old one. I think this is from like 2020. Holy but a goodie. Okay. So let's see how price closes here. We're about to get another 5-minute candle closure. And just because it's wicked through an exit doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a white flag. Okay. Sometimes you will, but we'll see how candle closes here and whether or not we get a white flag. Any second now, we should be getting this candle closure. Longest minute of my life. All right, cool. Here we go. So no white flag means this is still valid. So if we get a retracement into the golden zone, we could look to take a sell. All right. Ideally, it does retrace and give us an opportunity to then take the sell and ride it down, but it might just continue lower without us and then give us the white flag. That's sometimes what happens. It just means that, hey, you didn't get an opportunity to enter on that particular trade. It is what it is. Right. So in the meantime, because we do have an alert set on this when we do, or if we do get the pullback, I want to go over tap to trade really quickly with you guys. So I'm on from my phone and I'm going to share my phone screen real quick. So for those of you guys that don't know, all right, and I'll pull this up. The application, if you've been through the Fast Start, you've more than likely set up this app here, which is called Gifu Connect. There's actually 3 different apps you can download with Gifu. So you have the travel application, which is this one. This one's all for booking discounted travel. You get access to it if you're on the Gifu Live package. All right. But specifically, we'll focus on Gifu Connect, which is this app here. If you haven't downloaded this and set this up, you definitely will want to, okay? If you've been through the Fast Start, you're more than likely already set this up, which is good. But basically, this is where you can go about interacting with, engaging, and hearing and learning from the educators in a very simple and seamless format. In fact, they'll share trade ideas and a lot of really good value on this app as well, which is great. So this is kind of what it looks like. All right, if you click the magnifying glass bottom right corner, if it's your first time on the app, by the way, you'll have to log in with your email and your password. So be sure to do that. Influencers or educators on the right-hand side, a few that you're going to want to follow, okay? Make sure you guys pay attention for this. I put a list in the trade room chat, but I'm going to go over it real quick with you guys. These are the ones that I would encourage you to follow. All the educators are great, but there's some that I would say are going to be more relevant to you than others, and these are who they are, okay? First things first is Camille, this guy right here. So search him up, subscribe to him. Absolutely phenomenal trader, really good with specifically trading the same kind of style that I do, which is institutional with positive risk to reward ratios. If what I just said, you're like, I have no idea what that means, that's okay. Follow him. He trades the same way that I teach and that I educate. And it's great because you can be technically losing more trades than you're winning, but still be profitable. So it's a pretty cool way to go about trading. Camille is someone who teaches how to do that in the same way. Another fantastic educator that I would encourage you guys to follow is Eric Lucas. Same sort of thing. He trades with positive risk to reward. Highly encourage you guys to check him out. All right. Hopefully I'm not going too quickly, but next one, Manny Quinones. Okay. He's a phenomenal trader. I've actually known him and worked alongside him since 2019. Really solid trader, trades smart money, along with some other, kind of confirmations. He does great educational sessions as well. I know I saw Whitney on there this morning, and he does sessions on a regular basis on GFU Live. Make sure you're tuning in for the sessions. Okay. And then the last two that I would say are going to be relevant for you guys is Jay Bonham. He does live trading on stream. So you can still subscribe to him on GFU Connect, but most of his trade ideas are actually being shared on his live sessions in the mornings. And then last but not least, you have Tony and Nico. It's weird. I should be subscribed to them. There we go. And these guys are also really, really savage, which is good. Savage traders. All right. This was a trade that they called out yesterday. Okay. Absolute sniper entry based on the same parameters and the same kind of concepts that I educate on as well, which is smart money concepts, institutional. Look at this entry, man. Like the same way that I have the red and green for mapping out a trade, they use gray as your stop loss, blue as your take profit. They entered here on the wick with such precision on this GBP JPY trade. It was like a one to, what was it? A 1-8. TP2 hit 5-8 CRV. Yeah. So solid trade. Some of you guys actually took this at the Calgary event. I know Walker did. I know, I believe, who else was it that took it? Walker. Can't remember. There's a couple other people that took it as well. But really, really solid trade. So these guys, even though they don't speak English, okay, you might be like, Donnie, why am I following somebody that doesn't speak English? Well, guess what? The charts are kind of a language of their own. So once you learn how to read the charts, you'll be able to understand the trade ideas that they're calling out and take them. Okay. This is what it looked like when they called out the trade ideas. So pretty, even if you don't speak that language, which I think is like German, could be mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but they'll give you the entry parameters, right? Entry level SL is your stop loss, take profit 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So really solid. These guys are great. Okay, tap to trade. Last thing I'm going to talk about before we wrap up the session. It is an add-on. It's $50 a month. And what it allows you to do is connect your trading account directly to the application, which is fire. So if you're using MetaTrader 4 or 5, and there's a trade idea that comes out from the guys that are on Tap to Trade, the educators, you can, with the click of a couple buttons, immediately be entered into the same exact position as they are without hesitation. So you can actually link your account. I know for a lot of us that are Canadian, we use PU Prime and MetaTrader. Okay. Even if you don't have MetaTrader, don't worry, don't fret. You can still access these trade ideas. They just won't be tap to trade ideas. You'll just have to manually copy and paste the parameters, which is, it's one extra step, but there's still phenomenal, phenomenal trades that you're going to want to have to take advantage of using the global FX ideas or tap to trade, as we like to call it. So you can connect your account. I have a video on how to do this. I'm not going to go into it in detail right now, but I'll send it to whoever needs it. Maybe I'll just drop it in the trade room after the call. But you can choose the exact dollar or percentage amount that you want to risk per trade. And it allows you to very seamlessly copy and paste trade ideas. So this was an example from 2 days ago. This is no longer relevant, but this is what a trade idea looks like. Okay. So it'll give you the parameters to enter. POI is your entry, point of interest. Price expiration. So if price were to get to this level, the trade is no longer relevant to execute. You have the risk reward level, volume. This will be based on what you've predetermined as your dollar amount or percentage amount after you've executed the trade. It'll show you what your volume was. You have risk reward level. This is your take profit. Invalidation is your stop loss. Okay, if I go to all right now, there's no other ideas I can show you guys other than this one. And then, of course, there's the history tab that you could go through and see all the trade history. So super sweet, super easy to use and set up. I do have a video that overviews how to connect the actual trading account to FX Global for those trade ideas to be very seamless and easy to execute for you. If you're not on MetaTrader, don't worry. Like you can still copy and paste these numbers into your trading account very, very seamlessly. Okay. So that's the tap to trade overview. For those of you guys that are wanting to add this on so that you can then set it up, I'll drop the video on how to do so in the chat, and I'll also put it in the trade room. And then the video on how to set it up, I'll put in the trade room as well, like I said. I just got to find where the video is, and let's pull up this screen real quick for the scanner too. So notice how there's now a white flag. This means that the trade is done. We are no longer looking for an entry if and as to when or should price return to this golden zone. So basically what happened, we had price chopping in this area. We ended up breaking out without a pullback for our entry, and price hit the target of exit 2. Okay. And we're actually melting on gold right now. But now we're at this other key level, which is 30.50. So I'm willing to bet with the next 5-minute candle, we're going to get another gray zone, and you could potentially look for entry. Okay. So that was a quick little golden era run through. We didn't get to take a trade on it, but that's a little overview there. Guys, just in an effort to save time, I'm going to go ahead and just drop those videos for how to add tap to trade in the trade room chat on Telegram. So if you're on the Telegram group, you can go to the trade room, and I'm going to drop that in here, just the same place that I put the link. But with that being said, guys, for those of you that are serious about building the business, for those of you guys that are serious about really becoming ambassadors in a big way, Tommy is about to host a training called Back to the Basics. Okay? Back to the basics. So you're not going to want to miss this. Even if you're just considering, hey, you know what? I wouldn't be opposed to making some extra residual income every month, building the business. Guys, be sure that you're on that call. He just started it. The link is in the Revolt team chats, as well as the announcements channel. So be sure to jump over there. I'm going to wrap this up now for today. And guys, I'm going to drop some recordings in the trade room tab. So be sure to check those out. It's going to be like the golden era overview, as well as how to add on tap to trade and how to set that up. So look forward to that. But guys, I'll see you on the Back to the Basics call with Tommy right after this. See you guys there. Much love.